Welcome to another episode of Zantastic. This is the podcast where we talk about what makes you fantastic. Now, if you are here listening to me, if you're a subscriber, you are probably someone who is building a business. Either you're an entrepreneur, you're a content creator, but actually everything in life is sales. And I know lots of people don't like to hear that. They like to think about salespeople as the slimy used car salesman who's just looking to close the sale whether you want that car or not. Those kinds of sales tactics from the past don't really work when we are talking about online sales. They don't work anymore. People have wised up to those sales strategies. You think back to the movie Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, where they say coffee is for closers. Those types of tactics just don't work. You don't get a stack of leads and then it's one and done, you close them. You're building a brand. You're building reputation. You are building a network and connections. I want to talk a little bit about sales. And when I first met my husband, he was doing tons of sales training. And one of the things he told me is that everything is sales. If you are trying to get your kid to clean their room, you have to sell them. If you are trying to get your husband to take the garbage out, you have to sell them. If you want to get anything from anyone else in relationship, in business, in your career, you have to be open to sales. It's all a sales job. Building your reputation is a sales job. Building your network and building your audience, it's all about sales. Let's talk a little bit about what sales actually is. You want somebody to take an action, whether it's to click subscribe on your YouTube channel, whether you want them to click a link on a landing page, or if you're sitting in front of someone and you want them to sign up for one of your programs, one of your courses, or to buy a product that you're selling. Sales is everywhere. And if you don't want to learn about sales, well, maybe this isn't the video for you, but I'd like you to think a little bit about what sales actually is. Sales is about service. Sales is about finding out what motivates the people that you are selling to and meeting them where they're at and guiding them to take an action that is not just beneficial for you, but that is beneficial to them as well. Sales is about service. It is about finding people who have a need and helping them solve problems. I was just watching a video of Robert Herjavec on a Lewis Howes podcast, and he talked about how all of the great people who had billions of dollars, every single one of them was very good at solving problems. If you're in business, you're there to help people solve a problem, your product, your service, whatever you do. If what you do is fix people's cars, you're solving a problem for them. So sales is really about service. It's about meeting people where they're at, figuring out what problem that they need solved or what aspiration that they have, what goals they're trying to achieve, and they want to achieve them faster. And it's about providing the services that they need in order to reach those aspirations. It's all service. It's about understanding people, helping them find faster solutions to their problems. If you want to be rich, you better be a problem solver. You better understand how to do that at scale. When you can do it at scale, it's kind of marketing. But I've always felt that marketing has always just been customer service at sales. You have an audience and you are trying to help them solve problems, get their job done faster, easier, and at the right price. Now, here's the thing about price. People are willing to spend tons of money to solve problems. People with a lot of money, that is their leverage. They take that money, they pay it to people who solve problems for them in the most efficient way possible. And if you can do that for rich people, then they will pay you as much money as they see value in order to have what it is that they want. Think about people who sell very expensive cars. Robert Herjavec was talking about buying Ferraris in this podcast interview. Ferraris are expensive. They're not looking to buy on price. They're looking for something that gives them the feeling of an aspiration. Another great thing he said in this podcast interview, and I wrote it down because it just hit me. It made so much sense. Great salespeople, they sell features. Awesome people sell outcomes. And the most amazing salespeople, they sell a feeling. Think about the feeling of driving a Ferrari. If you've got the money and you want that feeling, that is what you're buying. You're not necessarily buying the features of the car. You're buying the feeling of the Ferrari. So what are the feelings associated with your product, your content, your services, all of this you're offering? What are the outcomes that you're delivering? And what feelings do people have when they get those outcomes? That right there is what you are selling. Now, of course, when you're selling, there are people who are your ideal clients. Now, I've worked in the software space, working with web developers. These web developers have outcomes that they desire. They want to create sites extremely fast. They want it to work. They want the sites to be highly performant. So those features in those products are incredibly important. But the outcome is a website that not only delights clients, but that performs well in speed tests. Marketing to those people was customer service. It was understanding what problems that they were facing, understanding what aspirations they had, and helping them solve those problems. And when you can do that at scale, then you have solutions. When you can do that at scale, sales start happening all on their own. I wasn't necessarily selling to mom and pop organizations. They were probably hiring somebody else to build a website for them. So talking to someone who was just an average person, they weren't my target audience. Does that mean I didn't talk to them? Does that mean I didn't sell to them? I still told them what I did. I still told them about the product and why it was so amazing. Because while they weren't necessarily an ideal customer, maybe they would go back to their web developer and say, hey, I met this person. What about this particular product? How does it work? Then they become a referral, right? All the statistics that I found have said that referrals are one of the main drivers of successful sales. Here's the stats. Referred leads have higher conversion rates, almost 30% higher than anything else. Referred leads close almost 70% faster. Referred customers have a higher lifetime value. That means they stick with you for a longer period of time. They can be worth over 25% more. Referrals, of course, are an easy way to get customers, so it reduces your cost of acquisition down 13%. Referrals also have a 37% higher retention rate. That means they stick with you longer. So everyone that you talk to, whether you're standing in line for a coffee at Starbucks, or you're having a conversation at a meetup, or you're just talking to a neighbor, those people end up being referrals. They're not your ideal customer, but they could refer someone to you if they come into contact with someone who is an ideal customer. Does this mean that you only sell to ideal customers? Of course not. Everyone that you come in contact with can be a lead generator for you. They could be someone that turns into a referral. As such, don't think of, I only sell to my ideal customers. You should be in the state of mind that every conversation that you have could turn into a lead generating conversation. It can happen anytime, anywhere. I was recently standing in a Starbucks waiting for my order, and the barista, just making small talk, asked what I did. Somebody overheard that conversation and asked me more about the place that I worked and the product that I was representing. That turned into a sales conversation. I didn't go into Starbucks that day expecting to have a sales conversation. I didn't even think that person or anyone in there was going to be a qualified lead, but somebody turned out to be interested. As such, you always have to be ready to talk about what it is that you do with anyone around. This means that every video you produce, every email that you write, every web page that you put up on your site, every blog post that you post should be selling something. But by selling something, I'm not talking about making sure you get a sale, making sure your conversion rates on everything you do are through the roof. No, you're supposed to be being of service somehow. I hope that this video is of service to you and thinking about how you make sales in your business differently. You need to be able to connect with people where they're at. Now, it's important to understand that there is an ideal customer. When I'm talking to web developers, and I understand what they're going through and what life is like for them, all of the challenges that they have in dealing with clients and dealing with customer requests, those types of things, all the technical challenges that they have. I talk to them differently than I do when I'm talking to a guy in Starbucks or somebody that I'm talking to in my neighborhood. When you hear things that people say when you're having a conversation with them, you have to meet them where they're at. Empathy is incredibly important in sales because that's what you are there to do. You are there to listen, to understand, to hear what they're saying, and ultimately lead them to a place where they find a solution with the product or service that you have. Now, what does this mean for online marketing? Well, research shows us that most people aren't reading. They don't read. According to research published by Nielsen Norman Group, usability experts that have been around since the days I started developing websites, 28% of web pages actually are read. Most people are not reading. They are scanning for useful information when they come to your site. They are looking for things that are going to help them solve a problem or help them reach a goal. So your website needs to meet them where they're at. You can't overwhelm your website with tons of copy because people are just going to become overwhelmed. They're going to try to scan for something that seems reasonable to them and something that's going to help them solve a problem. And when they don't find it, they are going to bounce off. So you have to meet people where they're at. For me, for this podcast, most of the views that are coming from it are coming from shorts. That's where people are at. Of course, I'm offering the longer version where people could dive deeper with me. They just want key information that helps them see things in a different way. With your content, that is what the sale is. You are meeting them where they're at, but you're challenging assumptions. You're challenging where they're at and help them think differently. Think about their life and their business and whatever they're trying to do in a different way. When you can do that, then you have a conversion. You get a sale. You get somebody who actually says, oh, well, this sounds interesting. And they go from the short to the long form content. And then that long form content leads them someplace else. But you have to meet people where they're at, and if it's short form content, you have to be able to provide that. Otherwise, you're just creating content for nothing. It's never going to find resonance with an audience if you're not meeting people where they're at and understanding what is important to them. Now, I've worked in industries selling things that nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to talk about security unless their site's being hacked. Nobody wants to talk about SIM card swaps unless they know of someone who has lost control of their cell phone because of that kind of attack. Nobody wants to talk about these things unless it's happening. So, selling to those people is interesting. You have to make them aware of what's happening. You have to make them aware that, yes, hackers are targeting these things. Yes, hackers are doing these things. It becomes an educational process because they don't know. Like, nobody wants to talk about a security system until their neighbor's house gets broken into. Then it's all they want to talk about. So understanding who your prospects are, where they're at, knowing that, maybe your security system for a house is useful to anyone who has a house, but people aren't going to be motivated to buy unless they are educated. So education, research, statistics, all of this information is absolutely critical if you're trying to guide someone from where they are, unaware that there's a security problem, to the place where they take action to protect themselves. If you are in a business like that and you are not helping people get educated and realize there's a problem in order to solve that problem, then you are missing out. Everyone who is a content creator, anyone who's trying to do online marketing, they realize that attention spans have just gone into the toilet. Everybody's a goldfish, right? Everybody has the attention span of a goldfish, scrolling from thing to thing and never sticking with content for very long. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to talk to the goldfish. I want somebody who's willing to go deep. But what if there are goldfish out there who could become a referral? What if there are goldfish out there who actually do have a bigger brain and they do want to go deeper? You never know unless you're willing to talk to a goldfish. If you're willing to talk to someone with a lower attention span, you have to be willing to talk to people where they're at. And there can be incredibly intelligent people with a lot of money who are interested in your product, but if they are in goldfish mode, they're never going to switch out of goldfish mode unless you go into goldfish mode with them. You have to be able to stop the scroll, be able to communicate to them where they're at. They could turn into the best client that you ever had, but you have to meet them where they're at. You have to be able to connect with them there and then take them into a longer discussion. If you are selling higher ticket items, you know what it's like, right? There's a longer sales process. There's a longer discussion. There's longer connection that needs to be made. But that initial touch point is often goldfish mode, right? So you have to be able to do both. You have to be able to talk to the goldfish, to be able to stop the scroll, to be able to grab the attention so that people have the instinct to dive deeper on whatever it is you're offering. Sales is all about this. It's all about meeting people where they are, whatever state they're in, whatever mindset they're in, and then guide them intelligently with the language that they use to a place where they understand that you have a solution to something that they didn't even know was a problem in a lot of cases. It's all sales. It's all about selling. It's all about providing solutions to problems. It's all about connecting to people's aspirations and goals. And it's all about being the tour guide on their journey from not even knowing that they have a problem to finding the solution that uncaps everything in their life. If you are looking to increase sales for your business, I have a sales crash course that I am offering on my course site that is going to be available within the next 2 weeks. If you'd like to sign up for my list, there is a form down below and you will get more details about this very inexpensive 1-hour crash course on sales for your business. And I'd love to see you there. If not, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching Zantastic. If you got anything from this, I would love a review, thumbs up, subscribe. Reach out to me and tell me I'm wrong. Call me a goldfish. I'm fine with it. I have goldfish mode. I love going deep on things, but I also have goldfish mode. I love on a Saturday night when everything's taken care of and I got 10 minutes, I'm on Instagram scrolling around trying to look for funny things. We all have goldfish mode, and I know you do too. It's okay. But sometimes people want to go deeper. But understanding how to get someone from goldfish mode into your ideal customer, that is an art. And I am here to teach you that art. I'm going to share all kinds of experiences that my husband taught me and also some mindset shifts that can help you increase sales. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching Zantastic. We will see you next time.